So I'm walking with my wife the other day. We're walking the dogs, and we see all these grasshoppers lying around all over the sidewalk. And I'm like, man, why are these grasshoppers everywhere? And we just started talking, and then it made me think to myself, it came out of nowhere, this thought. But I was like, whatever happened to roly polies? Like, I'm a 80s kid, so if you're like in the 80s, 90s, like, you're used to seeing these little roly poly bugs crawling around. They kind of curl up into a ball, and it just became like something that you would come across if you were like digging around and being just a normal kid getting dirty, right? And I remember thinking, I'm like, did they go extinct? Like, whatever happened to roly polies? I feel like I haven't seen them in a couple decades. I'm not going to age myself, but I feel like I haven't seen them in a while, right? So what happened to these roly polies? So I go home and I jump on AI and I'm like, hey, did they go extinct? Like, what happened to these bugs that were like, I felt like I saw them all through my childhood and then they just disappeared? And AI came back with a response that really got me thinking. They're like, those roly polies still exist. They're around. They're there all the time. You just don't see them because as a child, you were always digging. You were always moving rocks. You were always in the areas in which these roly poly bugs existed. So you would observe them. But you've changed. You're an adult now. You don't do the same things that you did as a child, which is why those roly poly bugs don't exist to you. You don't see them. It's not that I ever looked for them, but they're not in my vicinity. Like, they're just not part of my reality anymore because I'm no longer digging in the dirt and playing with rocks like I did when I was a kid. It got me thinking, like, the roly polies still exist. They're there. I haven't seen them. And it's because I changed from being a child to an adult. I changed my entire identity, which is why something no longer is visible to me. Something that was there, like it's there all the time. But unless I were to change my identity back to being a child and doing childlike things, I may not see a roly poly. And it got me thinking, like, when we change who we are as an identity, certain things start appearing that we did not see before, right? So think of it this way, like, if the roly poly itself, it always exists, it's always there. I'm just never moving the dirt or moving the rock in order to identify and see these roly polies. Well, the same thing has to do with the becoming a new identity of a version of a person that you need to be to achieve the desired result or life that you want. But in order to do that, you have to take action, right? You have to take action in order to see and observe the things that you want to happen in your life. So you start changing the identity. You start looking deep down and seeing what blocks, what beliefs do I have about myself that I need to change in order to do those things. Well, once you change the beliefs, now you have to take action, right? It's one thing for things to come into your life, but it's another thing to take action toward the achievement of the goal or the life that you want. You got to move the rock. You got to dig into the dirt. You got to get your hands a little bit dirty in order to actually create and observe the things that you want in your life. Or else the synchronicities, the mentor, the right person, the right job, they just don't come because you're thinking about it and you're starting to feel into the person that you want to be, but you're still sitting on the couch not taking any action, right? Even in the Bible it says, faith without action is dead. You got to take some sort of action. You got to take those little bit of steps toward achieving what you want, right? James Clear in Atomic Habits, that book is phenomenal. He talks about the 1% rule. Do one thing every single day, just a little bit, that is going to start forming a new habit of getting you closer to what you're trying to achieve. You don't have to make this huge jump, right? So if you're trying to start going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to go all in, right? You just get to the gym. Just walk through the doors, walk through the doors, sign up, right? And that's your first little step. And then the next day, like, just plan a little bit. Don't go all in. Don't get yourself hurt. Don't get yourself so sore that you dread going back. Just go little by little. Go in, maybe jump on a bicycle for 15 minutes. Like, just do something small, but do it toward achieving your desired result. Get closer and closer to just getting that little bit of a new identity of the person that you want to be. So if it's the relationship, if it's the change in the body that you want to see, eating healthier, start reading a book, you got to start taking action toward it. Something personally for me is I wanted to start reading more. So the first thing I did is, as I'm listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos, if somebody said something about a book that really changed their life, I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy it. And I would go right on Amazon and I would buy it right away. That was my first step. Second step was, once it comes in the mail, I had to make sure that I opened it and started reading it. So I promised myself I was going to read a page or two a day just to start that new habit. And I made sure that I stayed true to that. The last thing you want to do is make promises to yourself and break them, because then you start training your subconscious that your word means absolutely nothing. And that's what you're going to start seeing more of. Your subconscious is going to start telling you that you're somebody who says things and has big dreams and does things, but you never come through. That's the last thing you want. You're going to sabotage yourself completely. So I started reading a page or two, but I actually started getting into the book, and come to find out, like, just by doing that little thing, now, a week into it, I'm reading a chapter a day because I'm actually finding enjoyment in it. And I had to find the right room too. I had to find the right room where I wasn't going to be distracted and I can really just get into a flow state and enjoy and absorb what I was reading. But it took those little steps, right? And it took not procrastinating. It took me making sure that not only did I identify the rock to move, but I actually moved the rock to see and observe the thing that I wanted. And I'm using the roly polies as an example because I literally thought those things went extinct. I had never seen them. And it made total sense when AI came back and said, you just changed. You're not the same person. You're no longer a child. You're an adult now. You aren't doing the same things to observe those, insects or whatever you want to call them. And it goes for the same in life. You won't observe and see the things that you want in your life unless you create it, unless you take action toward it, because opportunities are always there. The right situations are right in front of you. You just don't see them because you're not looking for them. You're not in the right place. You're not in the right environment. You're not around the right people. You're not around, the people that are going to empower you and help you. And, the proximity principle is a real thing. The proximity principle talks about being in the right, proximity of the people that are doing the thing that you want to do, that you will start forming and adapting to their habits and what they do. And it's going to get you closer to achieving what you want. You can't do that if you're not taking action. You can't do those things. You can't be around the right people if you don't start putting yourself in meetings and maybe seminars or something that falls in line with being in the area of people that are doing what you're doing. It's really important. So guys, I hope this video helps you. I hope just taking that little step toward taking action and to achieve what you want, it's so vital. It's so important. If you need any help with this is my life passion. I love helping people achieve the life that they want. I love helping people remove the belief systems that are holding them back, the lack and limitational mindsets that I used to have. I went through a lot of growth and learning and difficulties and challenges, to start understanding how much appreciation I have for this life and how much I am capable of, and I want that for you. And that's what I love to do, is help people identify what they need to remove, what they need to unblock to uncork the life that they want. So reach out to me. I'll be happy to help. But guys, I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.